I find this, he is the next domino, I think, in this conversation to fall. And when you tell me his numbers got worse and you want to pay him, is where ultimately I think this just, it's not, I don't know if it's as cut and dry as do it.
Yeah.
When you got a 1 year, $5 million deal, you are saying kick the can down the road, but shouldn't you try to be close to him duplicating what he did in 23? Because 24, he wasn't very good.
No.
You want to pay a guy who's going to elevate your team. He said on a podcast, we weren't good last year because we were tired. Okay. They also had injury concerns, too. There's no doubt. They lost McCaffrey. They lost Trent Williams.
Yeah, the defense was pretty bad.
The defense was banged all hell. Like, there's no doubt the Niners were injured. He lost Ayuk. But, like, I'd also say if you are in situations where your team's not as strong personnel-wise and you're the guy getting paid to elevate it and you don't elevate it and you have a worse season – you're now, like, for all the Kirk Cousins things, because I remember what my take was on the Kirk Cousins Washington stuff. It was very similar of, like, pay him or don't pay him. Like, this tagging thing, it just doesn't pan out for you when you do it multiple times. You can kind of look at that two ways. You could say, well, they were a rudderless ship for X amount of years until Daniels and company got there. I'd also say, what did Kirk Cousins win when he left?
I won a playoff game.
Wild card game. That was about it. I don't know how much you missed. You'd still like to have quarterback consistency and stability, but I think that's their position of what if last year is more who he is than the year prior?
That's the biggest fear with Brock Purdy, and that's another year that you get.
So is that worth the gamble of paying? Do you want to be the Giants with,
Here's what I would say.
A Daniel Jones-esque thing?
I fully understand the argument. I get it. And I even when this number comes out, because I do think he's going to get paid this offseason, but I understand.
Lynch is making it seem like that's certainly the case.
I understand the argument against it. My only retort would simply be, how do they feel in that room? How does John Lynch feel? He's around him every day. How does Kyle Shanahan feel?
Well, they like him a lot.
He's around him every day.
Yeah.
And if you believe in him as an organization, then pay him. That's my only thing. Like, to me, it's going to create a bad relationship if you don't give him the deal now, because you're essentially telling him we don't trust you and we don't believe in you long term. And if he is smart and he has a good agent, and let's say he does turn it around. Let's say next year the 49ers bounce back. They have a better year. Brock Purdy's back. What were his numbers 2 years ago? They were
4,200 yards, 9.6 yard average, 31 tuds, 11 picks.
Those are really good numbers.
9.4 completion percentage.
Those are really good numbers.
All those numbers dipped from last year.
They absolutely did. Let's say he goes back to that. What's he going to cost you next offseason? That's the gamble ultimately, right? Like,
yeah.
So I would just say,
so what if he has a similar year to last year?
Sure. And I would say, if you're the 49ers and you're around this guy every day, do you believe in him? Do you trust him? Do you think he's a franchise quarterback? Then if you do, get the deal done, because the sooner you get the deal done, the better it paints your future financial picture, and it allows you to make every other move that you want to make, because you know what his cap hit's going to be, you know what percentage of the cap that you have left to pay. It locks everything else in around him, and you say, we trust and believe in you. Now, if you don't have that confidence in him behind the scenes, then for the love of God, what you're advocating is fair. Don't pay him. But these are smart football minds, and if you believe in the guy, then give him the deal.
I think the position of Shanahan has got to be somewhat difficult here too, because he clearly likes him. I think, again, they're going to pay him. But I also wouldn't blame a Shanahan for having that little voice on the shoulder say, you've done this with multiple guys.
Yeah, you got the most out of Jimmy Garoppolo, who's done nothing anywhere else.
Yeah.
There's the thought of, if Brock Purdy was anywhere else, would he do anything else?
Right,
you know,
right.
I would get that argument too.
That would be on my shoulder the entire time of, do I pay him? Because 20-12 with 3,800 yards,
no,
you ain't winning anything.
No,
you'll be the same team you were last year.
Yeah, especially if the cap hit is massive and you're paying him a $50 million cap hit. You're not going to win anything.
That is the position of those guys I do not envy whatsoever, is deciding, do you pay the guy? Well, he's been good. Has he been great? Has he been elite? And that's where I struggle with this of, like, if I don't feel like I'm saying yes to that, I just don't want to get stuck necessarily in the Dax situation.
Yeah, I totally understand it.
And I'm saying he's not a bad quarterback, but Tua, how does Miami fan feel about Tua?
Not great. There's also a difference there of him not being able to ever stay healthy, of just, you're never even going to have him for 16 games in a season, let alone win anything with him.
There is an element for Brock with me where I guess at times I'm like, how confident do I feel about Brock Purdy and pissing rain sideways?
He doesn't have the strongest arm.
He doesn't have the strong. He's not a big dude.
Nope.
He's not overly athletic.
No.
He is just one of those, like, he's playing above, I think, his obvious draft grade as he was the last pick in the draft. But I think that's the tough position I sit in. Is just like, as a Niner fan, I'm even like,
Yeah, I mean,
I
look,
don't know where I lean on it. I don't blame them if they don't, and I
very
can't blame them
complicated.
if they do, but I don't feel amazing about it.
A point that I agree with as well that came in on YouTube. Basically, I was talking about Hurts and his salary cap number being a big reason why Philadelphia has been able to sustain success despite paying him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. That's a point of opinion, but we can debate it. I don't view him
most
as,
people would disagree with that
sure,
take, but
that's
yeah.
fine. I don't view him as, if that guy was on a bad football team, he would elevate everybody else around him in any way, shape, or form. I think he's good. I think he's got an incredibly talented roster around him, and that
we
was
saw
shown
the
in the
team
Super Bowl.
with Kenny Pickett. They weren't great.
Sure, I don't think they're winning a Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett. That's fine. He's better than Kenny Pickett. I'll give you that. They also won some games without him this year. In times when he's been out, if you put him on, insert bad team, I think this is the argument you would make for Brock Purdy. But the other thing that has helped sustain Philadelphia is how many draft picks have they hit on?
Oh, a lot.
Right? I mean, this
they
is
also
where
benefit from teams being scared of stuff. Jalen Carter, he had some real questionably bad things happen, no doubt. But he's the best defensive line prospect in this draft, and it's not close. But none of us are going to take him. Okay, we'll take him.
Yeah.
We'll deal with the fallout of taking the controversial draft pick. And so far hasn't had anything off the field. As an NFL player, still a really awful thing that happened to him when he was in college. But, man, did he come up big for them.
That's the other part of it. If you're going to pay a quarterback, you got to have guys on rookie deals that help you win and make an impact on your team, because a lot of the money is going to go elsewhere.
Do you even think – I guess my final thing on this, then we'll go to Auburn. Do you even think you should trust – this is going to sound interesting because of the success that they've had recently. Should you trust the Niners' takeaway of quarterback? They completely whiffed and didn't even bother to scout the Mahomes draft because Jimmy Garoppolo they traded for and won 5 straight games.
They did. They gave him the deal.
Then they gave him the deal, and then the minute that didn't work, they went last pick in the draft. Well, then they traded Trey Lance. They traded a S-ton of stuff for Trey Lance. That never panned out even once. And then they just kind of lucked into Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft, and it just happened to work really well.
Stars aligned.
And then it worked well again, and then it didn't work so well last year. I don't, that's the other part of this, Niner fan or non-Niner fan, I don't know how much trust there is of just like, I don't know, man. That's it's been a fun run. It's been great. I'm not going to dispute their ability to find talent and X's and O's their way up. But that position specifically, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them evaluating that position.
The only thing that I would say is I feel like there's a difference between evaluating somebody through the draft process and trying to get that right and evaluating a guy who you've worked with every day for 3 years. 3 years? 4 years? How long has he been in the NFL?
This is going to be his 4th season.
4th year. So 3 years, you've been around him every day for 3 years.
But they went 5 games with Jimmy G and said, that's enough evaluation.
That was a mistake,
We're not even going to look at anybody in this draft. We're going to draft Solomon Thomas.
That's clearly a mistake. They beat nobody at the end of that season. He played well, and it was a fool's gold for them. But their argument would be we got to a damn Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and if he completes one pass late in that game, we win the game.
But if they have any ounce of just ability to look at quarterback, and like Mahomes, they have Super Bowls. They don't say we got to a Super Bowl. They say we have Super Bowls. I would also argue, too, the minute they needed a quarterback, their takeaway was we're taking Trey Lance and we're trading a lot of stuff for it.
They absolutely. It's remarkable they've been able to accomplish as much as they have, considering the trade that they've
been lucky. I mean,
it's
kind
one
of
the worst trades in the last 10 years in the NFL.
No doubt about it.
Completely backfired on them. I just think there's a difference between evaluating guys going from college to the NFL is an impossible science. Good luck. Figure it out. Everybody's different. Nobody has the best quarterback of all time was an end of the draft guy. It was Tom Brady, and nobody saw that coming, right? So it's an inaccurate science. I think there's a difference there between we know this guy, we've been around this guy, we trust this guy, we have a certain feeling about him. And the only other thing I'll add, and I know we're against it here, is just before our heads explode on a Brock, let's just see what the deal looks like. I do think he's going to get paid. I don't know if he's going to take a team-friendly deal. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what the cap hit's going to be. I don't know what the cash amount's going to be. Like, before we all freak out about the idea of paying Brock Purdy, let's just see what the deal is, and then we can react to it.
Tush Push has not been banned. It's been tabled.
Not a surprising.
That is official. It came down from the league meetings. The Tush Push has been tabled. They will debate that at a later date.